Okay, building a decentralized stack. Welcome. We are here. Let's jump right in and start with intros, the logical place. Who are you and how did you get into this space?
My background is sort of a blend of software engineering and also traditional finance. So after undergrad, I was working at Morgan Stanley on the investment banking side, doing M&A and capital raising for tech, media, and telcos. This was back in between 2010 and 2012. Sort of discovered Bitcoin and Ethereum back then. It ticked a lot of boxes for me. It was kind of this intersection of software engineering and tech, but also finance and econ. So just sort of captured my imagination from sort of just an intellectual standpoint. Left Morgan Stanley, moved out to California in the Bay Area, and just started doing a bunch of experiments in the space. Did a lot of stuff with like color coins and counterparty, kind of pre-Ethereum, and then obviously once Ethereum happened, switched over to that pretty much immediately.
So I guess let's go back to you, McLean. Tell us about NuCypher. Where does it fit into the decentralized stack?
Sure. So NuCypher is a data privacy layer for blockchain and decentralized applications. So we are a developer tool or infrastructure that gives you a way to store, share, and manage private data on public blockchains, or more precisely like the file systems like IPFS or Swarm, or potentially even storage, but also centralized file systems like S3. So for example, if you are building a medical records application and you want to store patient healthcare records on IPFS, by default that's all public. You need some way to have those records be private, confidential, and encrypted, but then still have those encrypted records be shareable with valid recipients. So maybe you want to share those medical records with your doctor or hospital insurance company. And we basically provide this access control infrastructure.
Do you think that medical and insurance will be the first adopters of?
So we are, it's just fundamentally horizontal infrastructure. So really it's for any DApp that's managing private data, particularly if they have some need to share that data among multiple parties. In practice, in terms of like our early adopters, we've seen a lot of interest from healthcare projects, from decentralized databases like Bluezell that are using us as the access control layer, also from like data exchanges and data marketplaces, projects that are looking to monetize different sorts of data by selling it and conditionally decrypting it to advertisers or researchers, for example. Yeah, and I think there are a couple things. Definitely agree with Nadine on scaling, and I think there's a lot of interesting work happening right now, both on and off chain. On chain with things like potentially Casper and sharding, off chain with like Lightning and Raiden, other protocols like TrueBit potentially. I think there's a lot of interesting projects that are beyond testnet, maybe even mainnet relatively soon. Another big area is security, so how we can securely deploy smart contracts and make sure that we have a good understanding of what those smart contracts actually do, so that we don't have situations like the DAO where someone's able to drain a ton of value. So work like formal verification of smart contracts there is very interesting. Another area that I think is particularly interesting for me in our project is stablecoins. So we actually, for NuCypher, if you're a user of NuCypher, you actually right now you pay in ETH. And the reason we do that is because it's less volatile than our native token will be. But it would be even better if there was some sort of stable coin which didn't even have the volatility of ETH, so that if you're running a node in the NuCypher network or any other network and you're earning fees from users, you have much greater visibility into sort of what those fees are going to be. So you're not dependent on your revenue coming in the form of this extremely volatile token.
So one of my other questions was, what is on your roadmap?
So we expect to be on testnet imminently, so likely sometime in March, and then actually mainnet not too long afterwards, sometime in the spring. Post that, obviously, we'll be seeing a lot of the projects that are building on top of NuCypher actually launch with that integration, start using us in production. We're also doing a lot of work around how we can verify that re-encryptions happen correctly. So there's like this challenge protocol that we have that we're working on. So basically requiring nodes in our network to stake our token as kind of collateral or security deposit, and basically working through all the details and specifics of that protocol.